Hi, I'm Lauren Vu, and I'm a vegan who's also pursuing a career as a doctor. When I became a vegan, I did it because of my health, the environment, and the animals. Being pre-med, students are encouraged to shadow doctors. So I figured I'd take this opportunity and find out if there were any practicing doctors near me who promoted plant-based diets. So I took to the internet to find one. I found Dr. Negro and I contacted her asking if I could shadow her. Luckily, she agreed, and I was able to have an experience I'd never had in the healthcare field. I was so curious about her story, her philosophies about the plant-based diet, and if going plant-based can really save the planet. So I contacted her again for an interview. Hi, Dr. Negron. Thank you for letting me interview you today. So could you just tell me what it is you do?
Well, I'm a family physician. I've been in practice for over 45 years. Right now, I have a solo nutrition practice where people come and transition to a healthy, whole foods, plant-based diet. I volunteer at a clinic for people without health insurance. It's a free clinic where people come and I always steer them in the direction of a healthy eating. I teach family medicine residents the role of food in medicine. I cook with my patients. I've been doing that for over 15 years. I lecture to the community. I'm the proud author of a book, Nourishing the Body and Recovering Health. I wrote it as an antidote to the pharmaceutical dependency that we have. So it's mostly to help people understand that whether professionals or the lay public, that our health is precious and that we can hang on to it by nourishing ourselves. And that if you've lost some health, that you can recover it by transitioning to a diet that would satisfy your nutritional requirements and reduce the inflammation at the core of most of the disease.
So what kind of diet is that?
The best diet is one that gives us enough calories for energy, not too many calories so that we don't really store them, not too few calories so that we don't really lose weight unintentionally. And those calories should come from the best possible sources so that we have the macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fat, and the micronutrients that are essential to thrive. So all the calcium, iron, magnesium, selenium, but also the vitamins and phytochemicals and antioxidants. And really, couched in that kind of definition, the best diet that delivers that is a whole foods, plant-based diet without added oils, flours, sugars. So it's really not pulled out of a hat. It's really the research, the longest researched and most in-depth research diet that supports health.
Wow. So you say plant-based and not vegan, correct?
Vegan could or could not be plant-based in the sense that a vegan diet could include, say, veggie burgers and, very oily and fatty and sugary desserts, and really have no leafy greens that you can identify. So vegans, although at the core, a vegan diet should really not harm the host, because what it means is active non-harm or ahimsa. A lot of people don't really follow that and just say, I'm not eating animals and I'll eat whatever there is that I can eat that doesn't have meat, chicken, cheese, eggs.
So for what reasons did you become plant-based yourself?
That was a long, long time ago, like 30 years ago. And it was mainly because I had become aware of what it took to make our food. So it had to do with environmental reasons. It had to do with the pollution, the waste. It had to do with the destruction of habitat, and not least of it, the violence that's inherent in the production of food in the Western style country, where we kill billions of animals just for taste, because we're not doing it for health. In fact, they are contributing to the obesity and diabetic and heart disease epidemics in this country.
How did you decide to change your ways of practice?
The reasons for me changing my diet were not health related, and I was woefully unprepared and uneducated in terms of food as medicine, or what food had to contribute, to health. So my personal practice of not eating animals, not eating chicken, cheese, eggs, I did not impose on my patients because I didn't know how that really translated into their health. So when I made the transition to help my patients, it was much more after I was informed and educated. And it was really because I was getting kind of tired putting people on more and more medications. Remember that the book I wrote was an antidote to pharma. I mean, I realized that I was putting young people on the third or fourth medication that they would be on for the rest of their lives, because nobody had taught me, that these diseases were reversible.
In medical school, they don't really focus on nutrition at all.
No, I did not learn anything about nutrition. There has been years and years of criticism, about the fact that physicians know nothing about nutrition, especially now. I mean, patients are asking physicians questions that physicians don't know how to answer. Physicians are getting information about nutrition from the same place that patients do, from the media, from advertisements, from public special interests that send us literature and say, here, copy this for your patients. It should definitely change, because 70 to 80% of the diseases that we see in medical practice are diet and lifestyle related. And we're spending $3 trillion on sick care.
Can you foresee any kind of change in the way that soon-to-be physicians are being educated in terms of nutrition?
Look, yes, I definitely do. There are more and more people making the connection that we're in this horrible public health failure of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and cancer, and that we really owe it to our country to turn this around.
Do you think that it's possible for humans to decrease or even reverse their harm on the planet through just transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle?
Well, I don't know if we can reverse it in our lifetime, but we can slow down the destruction.
What is your general advice for the population for converting themselves to the plant-based lifestyle?
Well, as a physician, of course, health. But as a citizen of this planet, it's many more things that could bring somebody to entertain the idea or the notion of going, adopting a plant-based diet. Not the least of which is climate change. Remember that was one of the reasons I started my change into a plant-based diet. The meat-eating diets of Western countries is a significant driver in climate change, meaning its contributions to deforestation, to habitat destruction, to water pollution, and to the greenhouse gases. And it's not just CO2, which is the transportation and the fuel, but it's also the nitrous oxide that's released when pesticides are applied to the crops. And it's also the methane of the animals that are not just on site, but are transported across the nation, and releasing methane, which are potent. If that doesn't do it for you, global hunger, because we are using grains for feed as opposed to for food. And so the contribution to the inequities around the world, when people adopt a Western style meat-eating diet, are disastrous.
Thank you so much for letting me interview you today. You gave me a lot to think about and a lot to work with. So so thank you.
Lauren, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and to whoever will listen to this.